What's everybody? Welcome back to Truth and Transparency. My name is Lana, and I'll be your host today and always. This episode, Idaho4, Murphy isn't the Barker. Remember Bob Barker? Yeah. And Tyler Moye and Simon Gatea. I think that they know this. Also, we're going to talk about who the Moyes are, who is this Simon guy. We did a nice little deep dive. You guys all got to join in yesterday. If you didn't see that episode, go check that one out first. We're going to start with a bang, though. So first thing we're going to do is number one. Give a shout out. Everybody's been doing a great job going and trying to get as much as they can on the documents. So here we went. Connor, I'm going to use yours here to show that this is not the correct time, though. But this is the video. It's the raw video across the street from that, food truck, aka the grub truck. But what I want you guys to focus on here is down in the right-hand corner. If you were Ann Taylor and you were a defense attorney in the situation, you would use the fact that the bottom right-hand car right there is a pretty interesting vehicle. It is not Brian Culver's, but it does look like it is like very similar. Why is this important? Because this is a driver, quote unquote, what do you want to call them? A private driver, party driver, Lyft, Uber. Somebody that night was driving and picking up people and driving people off. That this is what their vehicle looked like. No sunroof. Okay. Has the little antenna that's the fin. Okay. And what I wanted to show you guys here is that the guy that is barely dressed, he's the one that actually gets into this vehicle. So it's sitting there waiting. So there you go. You get somebody coming up right there. See the number 9 guy? So he's going to get in this vehicle. He's going to get in just walks right up to the front seat. Now, there you go. This guy, he's your driver. And they're going to get another guy coming up to the car. So these were all people at the grub truck, okay, having this vehicle. Again, not sure if he was a private driver, not sure if he's just with his friends out there, but you're going to see that another person gets into right here. There he is. He's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll get on this side. Now remember those tinted, blacked out windows right there? I mean, those are some tinted windows. Winted tintos. Anyways, the car's going to back up. And you're going to get a nice little glimpse. And they try to make it seem like there's like a license plate there. Not sure if there is one there or not. But at the end of the day, all these white sedans all over campus. It's all that matters. Okay? It's all that matters. Now, moving on. Next up. Yesterday, we developed a new timeline. And this new timeline is important to talk about because... Where is it? Okay, there we go. I'm going to pull it up here. Because we're going to go back to the initial interviews. Okay, the initial interviews. Now I did some digging and want to bring some stuff to light. Okay. So allegedly, supposedly, the police go there on 11/13. On 11/14, Dani Vargas, she's a detective with the Moscow Police Department. She did not go on scene on the 13th. She wasn't there, was out of town, but she goes to the scene on the 14th. She does a walkthrough with Blaker, and then she's walking the outside of the crime scene at 1122 King Road. While she is doing this, again, one could only assume by her written report. You'd have to ask her specific questions on the stand, but the way that the written report would make it seem is that while she was in the backyard, in this backyard of 1122 King Road, butts up to 1260 Walenta, which is where the Moyes own. They actually owned the home. Their parents owned it. Don't know if that's still the case, but regardless, back then, the Moyes have. There was a Tyler living there. There was a Matt living there. There was allegedly, supposedly, a Madison living there, but she may have also been staying at the sorority house because she was Pi Phi. And then a guy by the name of Simon G. That's the SG. Okay. And allegedly, supposedly, when Vargas is in the backyard by the chain fence, she talks and has some words with Simon. And he proceeds to tell her that, hey, I had called in dispatch, and that he told them what he observed. And we are able to say with 100% certainty that that phone call resulted in Ryan Snyder going back over to the 1112 King Road house where the girls are with the light bulb cam and saying and asking, hey, did you guys call the police? Like, because he was thinking it was them that called in over the radio. And can you, it was about here. Hey, do you guys have that camera? Is it ready? Do you guys have that SD card? Is it ready? Whatever. And we see on the body worn camera that when he does this, the girls are all like, well, we have somebody in the shower. Nobody called. We have no idea what you're talking about. Okay. That all happened in the same time period that allegedly, supposedly, this guy calls. But if you listen to the radio, it's very interesting because it sounds like he has camera footage that you would be interested in. In the interview, though, that would take place. So Detective Vargas says, okay, let me finish up what I'm doing and I'll come over here and I'll interview you guys, or I'll interview at least you. But then it led to interviewing Simon, Matt, and Tyler. Okay. Now, in discovery that we have so far, which is supposedly every report that was written by Moscow Police Department and every report that was written by Idaho State Police, these people were never interviewed again. Dani Vargas goes over there after she said, I'll be back. Now, again, this is pure speculation, but I'm speculating that she talked to this guy in the backyard because it does not make sense, okay, any other way. And that's why she said, let me finish what I'm doing and I'll get back to you and I'll come back over here. Now, if Matt Moye was interviewed at that house and he said that he worked 12 hours, there is no way that she could have interviewed any of these gentlemen before between like 3:30, 6:30, that on the 14th. Like, well, I take that back. If he was doing if he only had 1 day of training, okay. But if he did that like training, like again, because he said it was extensive training, then what I'm trying to say is that he would have done that same thing the next day. So Vargas couldn't have interviewed him until at least a certain point in time, but that depends on if he would have had another day of training. I've never heard of BW3s ever training somebody in the middle of the night. I asked again yesterday to a friend, but I'm just going to call up BW3s there and ask them if they were ever interviewed, because as we see it right now, nobody was interviewed from BW3s to corroborate the fact that that kid ever went to BW3s to do that extensive training, that anybody could vouch that he was there and that he got paid for the training. Okay. So I created a little list that I've been working on of all the what the fuck since we've seen this video. So 1260 Walenta Drive, it's a 4-bedroom house. So it is 100% possible that Simon, Maddie, when I say Maddie, I'm talking Moye, Tyler, and Matt all lived there because there were 4 bedrooms. So you can say that that is a possibility. No official police report has surfaced of the Moyes owning a dog at the time of the murders because Dani Vargas's report is so slim pickings. Okay. It's like she basically typed up minimal stuff. So you're going to have to listen to the audio recordings, which she claims that she recorded. She claims that she recorded. Now, I went through the entire 900 and some pieces of evidence that were put in through the Moscow Police Department. And that was the law table that I was showing you guys. Nowhere can you say that the words S and G were like used to describe an interview. There's a couple areas where you could say like there's a G here, so it could potentially be the last name, Getty. But since multiple people would have Moye, there's 3 of them, you would think that it would be very specific to say then the letter, like T dot Moye. But here, this is where it should be very interesting to everybody, is that since Matthew and Madison are both MM, okay, you're gonna have to do more than that. You're not just gonna be able to say M period Moye. You're gonna have to like write that all out. And based on all of that, there is no interviews that consist of any of that if you go based off of that logic. So then I came across a couple of miscellaneous interviews, and that's how they were labeled, as miscellaneous interviews. And I could see that these would be under the miscellaneous interviews. It's something that happened in the Dr. Moore case. Also in the Dr. Moore case, how they did things is that they were labeling the interviews based on the date of the interview. And then they were putting on that date, they would shove in 4, 5, 6 interviews, all when you would click on that folder file, and then you would see these names, versus just there being a complete folder file of the name of the person. Okay. So with that all said, a couple things. I went and grabbed 2 articles where Madison Moye was interviewed. Okay. And in this interview, she says, first of all, that she was at the bar where Madison and Kaylee were. Well, we have a problem with this. Guess how old Madison was at the time? She was a sophomore in college. That's what it reported. If that is accurate, I find it really hard to believe that Madison Moye would be at the corner club. Okay. If she was there with a fake ID. No doubt about it. Unless she started college after a couple years of doing something else. Okay. But my investigation has led to the fact that she was not 21 at the time of these homicides. Okay. It also goes to why I think that there was all the blurring out of all the faces at the corner club. Also at the corner club, allegedly, supposedly, was Tyler Moye, her brother. So there's Tyler, Matt, Madison. And then there's Simon, who I'm like, why is Simon living there? So I did some digging on Simon. Simon comes from a military background, from what I'm able to ascertain. And Simon he's 29 now. So at the time, do the math on how old he was then. And I believe he is a twin. He has a sister that's the same age. And if I did my homework right, Simon also comes from a military background family. And that's where I was like, I think that's how they know each other, their families, because Simon's family, you got them, California, Desert Palm High School, which is, go look it up. Desert Palm High School is right where there's a military base there. So again, I'm giving you guys the information. You do with what you want. All right. So Simon sees Vargas, wants to talk to her, said he called in. She eventually goes over. When she goes over there, the interview is only consistent with Matt, Tyler, and Simon. There is no interview with Madison, but Vargas said, give me her phone number. I'm going to call her. Okay. I went over that report with you guys yesterday. And from the report, I want to point out a couple of things again. Matt said that he left between 2:30 and 3 to go to BW3s. To this day, there's no report out there that anybody vetted that information. This is a quadruple homicide. Nobody went to W3s. Nobody. Where is a report saying that you talked to anybody? I have not come across one, and I've read every single one. The only way that could be is if the FBI did it. I would also be thinking Ann Taylor had a struggle when she was saying that no, these alibis weren't. These people don't have alibis. Unless Matt Moye was vetted, but when you get to Tyler and Simon, they are each other's alibis. But really, can you even say that? Because Tyler, when he's talked to by Vargas, he says that he was out at the bars, and he mentions and says that my sister said that she saw Madison, and then he says that he got home and went to bed between the same time that he's going to bed and putting earphones in is the same time that his brother is leaving to go to BW3s. And that he didn't hear anything that night, to include, I don't know if he was specifically asked if he heard a dog or if Vargas just wrote it like that in her report. But he didn't hear anything that night because he put earbuds in his ears. Okay. He never said that he left the house. He never said that anybody was coming over. And then you get to Simon. And Simon says that at 4:17, not 4:20, not 4 o'clock, not 4:30, not between 4 and 5, 4:17. Now everybody should just literally fall out of their chairs that this guy is going to say the number 4:17. 4:17 a.m. 4:17. Wow. He wakes up. And then by 4:25, within 5 minutes, he said that he then heard a dog barking, and it sounded like it was coming from the 1122 King Road house. It backs right up to their, where his room is, and he's going on and on about where his room was, and that's never happened before. He's lived there since January, and that's never happened before, where the dog would just be barking and going berserk, all throughout the night. Okay, well, those are all things that you would have heard, not have seen. Okay. Never once in Simon's interview, nor any of them, does he say that somebody came to his house at 4:50 in the morning. Never does he say that he left his house at 4:50 in the morning. Never does he or Matt or Tyler mention the fact that somebody could have been coming over or somebody could have been leaving and getting picked up type of thing. And then because there is definitely 100% movement, as we saw yesterday, there is either a car arriving and then being there within 5 minutes and then leaving, or there could have been a car that was in the driveway, because I'm going to show you guys how this driveway looks. Could have been in the driveway, and then at first they just kind of like moved their car, and then they were waiting, and it was parked sideways then from being straight, and it was then horizontal. Any way you slice and dice it, nobody is talking about the fact that anybody was coming or going at 4:50 to 5 o'clock in the morning, which is, this is how it would have worked. You initially interview them. You get their story. You get them to say whatever they want to say. Then when would have been going through 11112 King Road cameras, the one that we're looking at right now, you would have eventually got to the point, because Hill, Vargas, anybody that's watching this camera and they're tracking stuff in the back, okay, you would have got to the point, whether it happens for you within an hour, whether it happens for you in a month, you would have got to the point of, hey, we're trying to get every single house that would have ever had a camera on Walenta, number one. Number two, we're trying to talk to everybody on that street to see if they heard or, seen anything. But number three, you're going to then come across the movement that would have been going on at that house at 4:54, 4:57. And why I know that you would have come across it is because you were listening to the dog bark, and you were listening and listening and listening and listening and listening and listening. And then finally the dog stops barking, right? But when the dog stops barking at the same time almost, within like a second or two, you see that's where all the movement then starts over there at the Moyes, and that there's a light that's shining onto 1127, the King Road house, which is where Jack D lives. And you know that that's possible, and you know that you can see that, and you've been tracking it when vehicles are coming around and being on Walenta to come down to get to Taylor. So like any good investigator would eventually have gotten there. The question then is, you would have realized that the vehicle coming from at that time that's behind the house at 4:55 and 7 seconds, okay, and then 4:55 to 29 seconds. The last dog bark was at 4:49 and 31 seconds, and it's an interesting coincidence that the first lights that you see shine on 1127 was 2 seconds later at 4:49 and 33 seconds. You would have then seen that the car that's coming around Walenta and behind there, it did not come from just driving on that street. It physically came from the Moye's driveway. Okay. The way that you're analyzing this and you're using all your software, the FBI would have known that. So then the question should be, why wouldn't there have been another interview with any of these people? First of all, let's talk about this. The question of is, how did you get home? Everybody was being asked how they got home. If you're at a bar during college, right? Your college years, did you drive home? Which again, maybe they were because Vargas didn't just write it down. But how did you get home? That would be question one, right? How'd you get home? Whether or not she put it down, that's up to her. Again, Simon Getty told me the following. Up a couple of times Saturday night. He looked at the clock. People usually look at their phone. He looked at the clock, saw it was 4:17. That means he would have had to have a digital clock in his room, not a hand, arm. And said after about 5 minutes of waking up, he heard a dog bark outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. Simon said he was going in and out of sleep, and after an hour, around 5, he still heard the dog barking outside from the direction of the King Road. So he's up at 5. That means all the comings and the goings that we 55, he would have known everything about it. He also provides military time. With the way that he talked, he saw it was, 14, 17 hours, 4:17 hours. The way that he said it, 4:17 hours. The way that she writes it, she's writing it like he spoke military time. Next, it says, now, Simon said his bedroom is on the far northeast side of 1260 Walenta. So I went ahead and I pulled up all the Zwillow house and clocked where each of these bedrooms were located. I know exactly which bedroom he's talking about. He said that there is a motion light outside of his window, and said if it turned on, he would have noticed it. So that means from 4:17 until that he never left his bedroom. He's up, never left his room. Now remember, these people call the cops for noises. They've already made a noise complaint from this house. And they made a noise complaint so early. Not where like you're calling out like 1 or 2 in the morning. Okay, so think about this. These are people that have called the police before for noise complaint at that house between the times of 8 and 8:15 p.m. That's pretty early. In fact, Matt was actually interviewed about it, and he said that he had an early day the next day, and yeah, that he made a phone call. So you're gonna sit here and tell me that dog is barking for 45 minutes and there's no like call to the police? Bless. Next. Again, for Simon not to say that I would have seen the motion light, that means, are you staring out the window? How would you have seen it? I have questions about that. Simon told me that he has lived in this residence since January and has not heard the dog barking outside before in the middle of the night. Now, again, this is how Vargas is writing her report. So you have to give all the benefit of the doubt to Simon here. He didn't write this. Okay. Simon called the next morning. Then he was clearly outside standing by the chain link fence to talk to, this detective wanted to talk, say something. Hey, I called and wanted to tell them what he observed, in quotes. So, again, I want to say that as Vargas says, I walked around the south side of 1122 King Road, and along that fence line was the backyard for 1260 Walenta, backs up to the backyard of King. So I spoke with SG at 1260 Walenta and asked for his permission to look through his backyard area. So, all right. Why didn't any of those other houses, why weren't you asking for permission to go in any of those other houses where the fence butts up to these other people's houses? Okay. So she says that she does that. When she does that, he says yes. Now remember, he's not the owner, but yes, he told me yes. He also told me that he was a person who previously called dispatch to provide information about what he observed. Okay. Well, what you observe and what you hear are two different things, in my opinion, because you observe something with your eyes and you're listening and hearing. So I'm curious of what he observed. Because in this report, there is no 4:55 in the morning, which to me is the most important thing. Because that's when the dog stops barking. The dog stops barking when somebody from that house or that was going to that house gets their car there or moves it from being parked a certain way to then parking horizontal, and it's sitting, then boom, dog, no more. Also, why nowhere in this report would there ever be a mention that they had a dog? And what kind of a dog? Because Matt will go on the record with they interviewed saying that I've walked my dog one time with Kaylee. And when anybody ever talks about like this one time thing, that's always, I don't never like that. Like, yeah, I've walked my dog with Kaylee before. That would be it. One time I walked my dog with Kaylee. Like, that's a weird thing. Like, why didn't she ever walk? Was she like, I'm never walking my dog again with you? But, and then said that he was friendly with Dylan Mortensen. Again. So, that's all that Vargas thought that was pertinent, was writing that Simon told me that he has lived at the residence since January and has not heard the dog barking before in the middle of the night, period. Next. I spoke with Matthew Moye. He told me that on the 3rd, around 2:30 and left the house around 3. Matt Moye said that he had an blank extended training day and it lasted about 12 hours. Matt Moye said that he finished his extended training day around 6 at Buffalo Wild Wings and arrived home around 6:30. Matt Moye said that he was with approximately 20 BW3 members and did not notice anyone. Who should have been there that was not there? Matt Moye did not remember hearing anything in particular when he woke up or left around 2:30 and 3. Well, what time did he wake up? At 2:30 and then he left at 3? Okay. Matt Moye did not hear the dog barking. End of conversation with him. Next conversation. I then next spoke with Tyler. Tyler told me he did not hear a dog barking at any point. Tyler said he had been out at the bars the evening of the 12th and got home around 2:30. Tyler said he sleeps with his earplugs in. That's interesting to me. I could see earbuds, like you're going to listen to something, you're going to sleep, but earplugs. Now think about this. If he really sleeps with his earplugs in, it's because, dude, it's so fucking loud. That's why we've called the police before. Now, if you go back, when the cops are originally going around a neighborhood canvassing, a guy by the name of Jason House, he's one of the people, you guys have seen the body cams. One of the questions that they are literally asking these next door neighbors in the Queen apartments is, does anybody have any beef with the house? Like, are there any disgruntled, neighbors? Have you heard of anybody, like, because they're like partying, getting rowdy? That was literally one of just a few questions that were asked. Okay. They would have also at some point, we put it out there before there was ever an arrest about the noise complaint calls that they were getting. All right. So they would have saw any time that the police would have been at that house and what they were there for. They knew about all of that. And they also know who the caller is. They would have known that this house, Vargas, that you're at, is cop calling house. They've called the cops on them. And that's absolutely relevant. And you would ask them about that. And he doesn't write it into the report at all. Like, hey, we saw that you guys called the cops on them a couple times. What happened? Why would we do something so logical like that? First of all, you're just going to ask it like that, see if they tell you the real reason why, but that's just not pertinent. That's absolutely pertinent. That's very pertinent information left out. Okay. So when Tyler's speaking, it was really short. And he just says that he'd been out at the bars the evening of the 12th and he got home around 2:30. So the same time that he's saying that he's getting home, his brother's waking up, and it's like a swap. So what it should look like over there at the Moyes is Tyler getting home and literally just a little bit later, Matt leaving. Okay. And Madison wasn't there, but I would be thinking that, okay, who all spent the night over here? Did Madison? I'm going to talk to her. I get it, but was she here? But Tyler then goes like this and says, Tyler said that he sleeps with his earplugs in. Tyler said that his sister, Madison, mentioned that she had seen Maddie Mogan at some point at the corner club. Tyler provided me with his sister's phone number. Nothing further. Okay, so let's talk about what I've pulled up here. The Daily Mail published that article with Madison Moye. She said she was at the bar where Maddie and Kaylee were. She was the first person to break out the news that Maddie and Xana dropped the sorority. That's the source of that. And she was, now it comes out after the fact. She was right? She was being honest. The Daily Mail got it right. This person said the truth, right? So the only person to talk publicly about Xana and Maddie dropping the sorority was this Madison Moye. Now, in one of the articles, she claims that there is a cut through from her house to the back parking lot of Queen Apartments to walk to school. The Daily Mail, again, they published this article November 29th, 2022, and says, in quotes, Moye lives in a home behind the crime. She says she did not go to the home on the morning of November 13th because they were when I say they, the media outlets were trying to figure out who the outlets were that had, who the kids were that were actually there that morning, that showed up, because after the presser that Fry said, we don't know who's there. We don't know that. We don't have those answers. We don't know. Okay. We don't even know that answer. We don't even know all the people that were there. Okay. So let me pull this up. I typed this up for your enjoyment. So yeah, I took it straight from here. This is the quote. Moye lives in a home behind the crime scene. She said that she did not go home. She did not go to the home on the morning of November 13th when police said officers arrived to find multiple people already inside. When asked about the possibility that the killer might have passed through her yard, she responded, "It's definitely something that's crossed my mind, and that's really terrifying." She said that many of her classmates simply walk to campus for class, and that she has often used a shortcut that passes through the parking lot behind the victim's home. Again, I just took this straight from the article, planted it right here. Daily Mail published article November 29th, 2022. Also, Moye, a sophomore, told Fox Digital, "It was just a normal night in Moscow. Moscow is a safe place. Nothing like this ever happens. I didn't think anything of it." And if that doesn't give a girl chills, I don't know what would. What's up, guys? Welcome to Truth and Transparency. This is why I didn't do this live last night, because I was hardcore researching some stuff. Hardcore. Because, well, there's obviously numerous reasons, but if this isn't a phrase that everybody was told to say, I don't, Moscow's a safe place. Like, nothing ever like that happens here. Like, it's Moscow. Like, what do you mean? And it's like, wait a second. Back up. Y'all called the cops on noise complaint at 8:00 p.m. There was a sheath left. This is two military families. The Getty family in Simon. He comes from a military family. The Moyes come from a military family. Okay. A sheath found at the scene. Okay. This house has called 911 before. Literally. Called the police. Said, I want to report. Like, okay, let me ask you a question. What if you were like super cool with these people? Wouldn't you just text them and say, hey, can you guys keep it down? But who would ever text anybody at 8:00 p.m. that lives on a college campus who is of college age or right thereof and truly write that, or like if they're friends of yours? I would never call the cops on my fucking friends ever for that. Like, what? Come on, guys, use your brains. Okay. You would text them, you would call them. Okay. And so I'm curious, when they did any of the cell right dumps, is there any way, if you're friends with them, do you have like a way to hit them up? Is there, I mean, you also just live right there. Can you just like go tell them? Again, if you're friends with somebody, this is college. You know what I mean? Like, the day that I would have been in college and call the police at 8:00 for a noise complaint on my friends or people that I'm like, cool. Like, that's absurd. So think about that. He wasn't the person that called the cops. It was not Simon. I have the report, and this is before they redacted ridiculously to, violate what I believe is they're overstepping their bounds. I have all, and it was not Simon. And in fact, 1,000% was Matt. 1,000. In fact, people tried to come for me when I put out that information. People tried to say that I was like, this is a fact, motherfuckers. This is a fact that the house behind them called the police to report noise complaint. Now, once you guys see all these people walking around, these cops, and asking, hey, is there any beef? Did you see this house with any of the neighbors? It's the first thing that they were asking people. It's because that's common sense. Oh my God. I never said that they killed anybody. I said you would go and talk to them and you would, hey, but this is what should bother people is they gave more information to the Daily Mail. Matt Moye and Madison Moye gave more information to the Daily Mail than they did to the police. Or Dani Vargas left out pertinent information. And she left it out so early. Like she wrote this report up on the 15th of November. These interviews are on the November 14th. Or you suck at your job. Do you understand that as a defense attorney, I'm not going to get anything out of that report. I have to listen to it because that report is dog shit right here. Especially after, okay, did you interview them again? Because when you saw that all this people were going and coming from that house at 4:50, as soon as the dog stops barking, did they own a dog? You didn't think that you should interview them again? You didn't go and vet anybody's alibis. And then you have Simon and Tyler. They're basically like, well, nobody asked me. I mean, I was here all night, but obviously, I guess the only person that can vouch for me is the person that was sleeping with earbuds in. And then Simon is basically, can you vouch for Tyler? Like, if you just stayed in your room, but there's a dog barking outside, does that mean like you went outside and you looked? Did you see a dog when you heard the dog barking and you think that it came from over there? It kept you up for 45 minutes? Did you go outside and look? Did you look out your window? Like you didn't ask any of those questions, Vargas? I find that hard to believe. And if you didn't, I think that you're dog shit. Sorry. Like that's just not a good job. So what else do we have here? All right. So on paper, it looks like Tyler has no alibi. Tyler said he didn't hear anything out of the ordinary that night, but that he slept with his earbuds in, or at least did that night. Police didn't ask him how he got home from the bars that night, or if they did, the top cop of the year, Dani Vargas, didn't write that in her report because she didn't think it was pertinent. But yet they're literally asking every single person how they got home that night, but not these people. Also, Tyler never told the police that he left his home or that anyone came to his home between 4:50 a.m. and 5 a.m. Okay, now Tyler wouldn't be the one that would be saying that because he's supposedly sleeping. But somebody who you would expect to hear that from would be a Simon. Now, Matt Moye, his alibi was just never vetted. We don't even know if he was working at BW3s at the time. Also, did he leave his house at 2:30 or was it 3? What kind of cars did they drive? Now, according to, let's get this straight. According to Judge Hippler, his big thing, ready? His big thing is that anybody that Ann Taylor wanted to bring forward for being a third party culpability, okay, a possibility to be a third party culprit, you had to have a white Elantra. You guys, that just kills me. That's like, wait, why? Well, because the cop said. The cop said that the killer was in a white Elantra, motherfuckers. That's why. Do you know how ridiculous that is? Like, wait, excuse me? I can see if the murder weapon was a car and a white Elantra was all, bashed up and the taillight was all over like the house because they just ran right into the house and just took everybody out. Okay. You guys, to even say in the state, and that was the state's claim, and he's backing it up. You guys, that is unheard. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Stuff like that, it has nothing to do with Brian Clover being innocent or guilty, or like that's not even an argument. The argument that I want to have with somebody is how does first of all, how does the state even claim that? Second, how does a judge endorse that? And if you guys don't believe me, here, I want, like, they all tell jurors, do not check your common sense at the door. Okay, you're coming in here as a juror, you're going to use your common sense as well as whatever you see. You get to be the fact finder, okay? Well, I have a question. Why does every judge and attorney check their common sense at the door? Because that's a common sense, like, absolute. To sit here and say that you could not present a third-party culpability defense because none of the people that you wanted to say were involved in this crime owned a white Honda Elantra between the years of 2011 2016, that alone should get you, like, literally kicked off of the bench. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wild. All right, so I want to pull up because I wanted to know, these third-party culprits, they were, what do you call it? Redacted and everything, okay? Now, Simon, interestingly enough, in November, he changes his Facebook and he tells the world on November 1st that he is now an intern at SEL. SEL, man. Now, I went into the evidence law table, and guess what I found? An SEL video. An SEL video. Well, SEL is located, it's in Pullman. All right. They went and got surveillance cameras from SEL. Well, you can imagine what hit my, right up on what the next thing I was looking for was SEL video. Okay. But here I want to pull up the third party culpability when this order came down, because they're saying that that's the last, that was the last straw. I can just tell you this: if Ann Taylor was not claiming that the Moyes or Simon G and this other and Tyler were not potential third party culpability suspects, then she 100% failed at her job. Failed at her job. Because there's nowhere where I can find that Simon or anybody that was involved in the Moye family gave up any prints or DNA. None. Okay. None. So for Hippler to say over here that all these people cooperated, I don't understand why Ann Taylor is not saying, what are you talking about? So here, let me pull this up. So I went and looked on the witness list. Remember, we did this yesterday, and the state never calling anybody from that house. Simon, Matt, Tyler, listen, nobody. None of those people were on the state's witness list. Guess who's on the defense witness list? The two main people here, Tyler and Simon. Why would they be on the witness list? Like, why is Tyler on the witness list? He went to bed. He had nothing to offer, right? Supposedly, right? What's Simon going to say? Well, that a dog was barking until what time? He's never heard a dog barking like that before. Well, maybe they're going to ask, why didn't you guys call a noise complaint in? That's what I would ask. Haven't you guys called for a noise complaint before? Isn't it true that you didn't want to call a noise complaint in? But now think about it this way, though. These are Ann Taylor's witnesses, so she cannot lead them. So this wouldn't be cross-examination. So she's going to have to be creative to say, well, you heard a dog barking for 45 minutes and you didn't call a noise complaint in over there. Now, isn't it true? Like, you can't say, isn't it true? You're going to say, well, have you ever called for a noise complaint? Don't you want to get that out there? Like, yeah, and it was at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night. I think she's also going to ask about what the hell was going on at 4:50 to 5 o'clock. I think she was also going to talk about the dog. So let's go here to third party. Where is it? Mm-mm. Okay, here it is. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, order sealing defendant's reply to state's objection to defense offer of proof. Motion. Okay. Motion to seal states motion to amend witness list. Okay. Okay. Redacted state's objection to defense. Here it is. Now, this is what Hippler. So we're going to see if the Moyes could have been potentially on this. All right. So if you go here, you open this up. It's 11 lovely pages. State's objection. Okay. All right. Okay. The defendant subsequently filed his offer of proof, alternate perpetrators, on May 14, 2025. At the pretrial conference held on May 15, 2025, the court directed the defendant to submit actual evidence to support his alternate perpetrator allegations, stating that the defendant's May 14th proffer contained allegations that were fairly objectionable. Oh, back it up just a little bit. Let me make it bigger for you guys. No, this is, we want to show this. So, all right. With the exception of an blank, okay? It appears that in reality, the defendant merely wants to cross-examine various state witnesses as opposed to trying to make a case of an alternate perpetrator. Now, this is where I say I call BS. And maybe Anne was like, we're just not going to play, we're just really not going to tell you who our alternate perpetrators are. Okay? Because I'll tell you this right now. There is no way this could have anything to do with anybody to do with the Moyes or this Simon Getty kid. Okay? Because these two people were not on the defense's witness list. Period. So it wasn't that we're trying to, so this is a gaslight. That's gaslight right there. That's all what that is we're being gaslit, blah, 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 blah. But while the defendant certainly has the prerogative to cross-examine state's witnesses, he cannot speculate that a third party committed the crimes with which the defendant is charged. This is the essence of the limitations and requirements related to the alternate perpetrators. It remains the state's position that any attempt by the defendant to offer or argue an alternate perpetrator theory without evidence specifically connecting persons other than the defendant to the homicides would do nothing more than mislead and confuse the jury, and would also result in undue delay, waste of time, needless presentation of cumulative evidence, and unfair prejudice to the state. Now, let's talk about this. If I want to, okay, if when I believe at the time of the crime happened is different than what the state is going to present when they think that the crime happened, right? So, guys takes the stand, or, I mean, who are you going to go to say, well, everybody was reporting to who here? Okay, so did Dani Vargas bring this to you? Like, who saw the video to say, hey, here, look over here, the dog stops barking, and look at what's going on over here at the Moyes house. Wow, dog stopped barking at the same time that a car was present in that driveway pulling in or moving positions in the driveway and then staying on for 5 minutes, and then it pulls away. And that based on the way the driveway is laid out, it is consistent with somebody that's right up, then basically parallel to the street versus being perpendicular to the street because of the way the driveway is. It goes both ways. It goes parallel to the street and perpendicular to the street. And so it's like, so you ask these questions to those investigators, and then you say, I want to, Your Honor, I asked to publish what's been identified as this exhibit, and you play a portion of it, or can you identify it? I want to publish for the jury, and you're going to play this. Who are you going to ask that to? Every single one of them people? And then you're going to move the court to say, Your Honor, our theory of the case is that obviously somebody else did this. Okay? And we want to show the jury that this wasn't that none of this was ruled out because nobody asked any of these people questions. If they want to go off of the lights, Hill wants to go off of the lights, headlights in the back of these houses. Okay. Well, then I want to show the fact. Ready? Here's a fact now. I mean, this would have to be outside the presence of the jury, but you want to show the fact, and this is a fact. Let me read straight from this, which is, here's a little piece of information that the last dog bark was 4:49 and 31 seconds. And this is interesting considering that on the 1127 house, was 2 seconds later at 4:49, boom, you see the headlights on the house. And that's 2 seconds later after that bark. You never hear a bark again going on at that house. It's like a dog was outside over there in that house, in that backyard. Okay. And did the police ever note this? Then you want to talk about the fact that if they're doing the frames in the back, you'd want to show that at 4:49 and 41 seconds, a portion of the light goes away, which looks like it would be activity of somebody walking in front of the headlight. Then you would want to ask these questions, which would be at 4:49 and 42 seconds. The portion of the light comes on again, which it looks like, again, did somebody walk past it? And then at 4:51 and 17 seconds, there's a new area, which is 1 1/8 inch above the lighted area, lights up a little. Is that consistent with the vehicle movement? It's for 2.3 seconds. Then at 4:51 and 19 seconds, again, an area of 1/8 inch above lighted area, the light goes off, which is because it's the car's backing up to move around and go down like how the driveway goes. But this is the big part. At 4:55 and 7 seconds, the light on 1127 begins to brighten. This means that the vehicle is moving forward, leaving. Okay. 4:55 and 13 seconds, brighten more. Again, vehicle forward movement. Then at 4:55 and 16 seconds, brightens much more. Again, continuing with movement then. And then the vehicle in the area left side south of 1127, where all the northbound vehicles have been seen, this vehicle is not seen. Why? Do that right here and right now. So outside the presence of the jury, you're going to what? Like, this is where Ann Taylor, I would be thinking in the motion in limine, I need to have an expert here to show, or am I going to do all of that through an expert to show, hey, you were provided this information, which is all these cameras, the same thing that they use. You saw his report. I want to talk about this time frame. but you can always make an offer of proof at trial. And I think this is going to be your best bet to offer this proof at trial. And it's going to be, so let's go look over here, and we're going to set this to, again, give a shout out to Christy's Chaos. We're using her raw footage here. And thanks to Jules, she went out and got this video. And then Christy, I'm just using yours. It was queued up for me yesterday. Appreciate that. Shout out to both true crime YouTube creators. So let's look at this right here, which is at 4:55 and 16 seconds. 4:55. 4:55 and 16 seconds. So I got to go back a little bit. Okay. So looking back over here, the argument is right now, I'm going to pause it right at, I'm going to pause it at 4:55 and 16 seconds because I'm going to show you guys what we're talking about. So we can go a little bit, 4:55. Okay, here we go. 4:55. We have 5 seconds, 6. Okay, right there. Okay. 4:55, 16. Well, it's at 17. Let me just make this as big as possible. Okay, it is. All right. So up over here to the left. Question is this. Vehicle in area left side, which is the south side of 1127. So over here where all other northbound vehicles have been seen. So you can't see the vehicle. But this vehicle is not seen. All right. So back it up just a tad here. So at 4:55 and 12 seconds. See that? Haha, bitches. Yeah, let's talk about that shit. Okay. Now, all you don't see anything. Okay. It's just, so if you go back and you look at all the footage, okay, you're going to be able to, again, this is in quotes here. Special Agent Hill, you've probably looked at this footage, probably, I don't even know, days, weeks, the amount of hours, months, maybe. Yes. Okay. And all the footage that you've looked at, all the vehicles that you're able to see traveling northbound, the vehicles in this area that are on the left side of 1127, so that's on the south side of the house, when they're all traveling northbound, the vehicles have been seen on camera. Isn't that correct? Yes. Okay. So then why at 4:55 and 16 seconds to the 23 seconds do you not see this vehicle? Again, I'll back it up. Oh, let's back up some more. Okay, so I want to walk us all the way through it. All right. So here it is at 4:55 and 7 seconds. The lights on 1127 begin to brighten. So here it is, 4:54, 4:56, 7:58, 59. Now we're into 4:55. Now you're going to see right here at the 7-second mark, right there, a little bit brighter. Then you're going to see it get, it's like right there more. Okay, brightens more. So it's moving forward. Okay. This is at this 4:55 and 16 seconds. So it brightens much more, continues to move forward. Right here, we should start to see a car. We don't see a car there. Why don't we see a vehicle there? We don't see a vehicle here. Until you're on the north side of the house. That is different than every single video that is played up until that point. Vehicles heading north. You only see at 4:55 and 18 seconds, the right side north of 1127 begins to light up. Then you see at 4:55 and 18 to 26 seconds, the headlight beam only travels northbound between 1127 and almost to 1119. The vehicle never seen to this point. 4:55 and 26 seconds. Headlight first seen traveling northbound right side north of 1127. Vehicle is seen and is long. Can you explain that? But this motherfucking shit wasn't doctored. Okay. Now. Woo. Also, we want to back it up to .449. This is 4:48. So the dog's been barking. Okay, so Special Agent Hill, when you were watching and doing the path of travel, were you watching the video with audio or without audio? Is there a reason that you would watch it with or without? Would that have any bearing? Would you take that into account? Could you explain that to the jury? Okay. So did the dog barking, was it ever discussed between you and any of the special agents or what detectives on this case? And was there a theory about why the dog stopped barking when it did? Okay. So are you aware that the dog stopped barking at 4? Let's see. .449 and 31 seconds. Okay, we're going to cue this up at 4:49 and 27 seconds. Did you see what happened to the screen right after the dog's last bark? So again, 4:49, 29 seconds here. Look to the left. Right there. Right there. You see how the light dims out for a minute? Is that consistent with somebody walking around the car, the headlights? Did you guys ever go and take a car and go and see what happens over there? Did you guys test that out? Well, you're following the headlights. Were those headlights? Or did you consider those headlights? No, I didn't do anything past. So you never went past what time? 4:20 and 42 seconds. Okay. Prior to knowing or thinking that the white car had anything to do with the crime, you didn't look past 4:20 and 42 seconds? Well, early on in the investigation, you were aware that Jack DeCord didn't have a white car and he lived right across the street. He was a suspect. You were aware that John Jack Showalter, he was a suspect in this case. He didn't have a white car correct? If they try to answer that way, to talk about a lie, okay, well, I guess then we're going to be doing it. I don't think that they can say that because they had to pay attention to when all the dogs' barks were ending. So, anyways, you would just show them this. Okay, well then I guess we can do it here for the first time, just as they did in the Karen Reed case. Let's take a look. Here, dog last barks. No light, light. No light, light. No light, dog barks, light. Right there. Now it seems like somebody walked around the headlights from the front of the car. You can almost even pick up voices. Then it'll stay like that for literally from 4:49 and 56 seconds. It'll stay all the way like that until 4:51 and 19 seconds. But there you heard a little door. So somebody's just chilling at the Moyes in the driveway. Right after this vehicle pulls up and gets into it's going to be parallel to the street. The way that the house driveway is, there's a spot that's right in front of the house, and you could park your car like sideways. And so it faces like it would be able to be driven out of there. Like and be flowing with the street. You would show all of the pictures of the house. In fact, I can do that. Would that help the viewers to see the angle? But this is 1000% when the dog stops barking. I think it's a legit video. I think it's 1000. It's legit video. I'm saying that portion of it. So there's an issue with that portion of the video. Okay. So the moral of the story here too is that this dog barking is not Murphy. The Moyes have a dog. Bethany and Dylan never mention the dog. Never mention the dog. This whole time I was thinking, why are they lying and not even talking about Murphy? Well, because maybe it wasn't Murphy. Chris, sorry, but you're wrong. Okay. Again, undisputed evidence right here. 4:49, literally. So then we're going to, car stays on, car lights stay on. The jury would see this, walk it all the way, and then you would say, okay. So that car light stays on for over 5 minutes in that spot. And people are walking in front of it because it's dimming out the headlights. And that's what would happen when you walk in front of a car that has the headlights on. It's going to affect. So this is what's crazy is that if it was light, like let's say it was light outside, we wouldn't have this type of evidence. But because of the time of the crime, we're actually getting this type of evidence because it was dark out, because lights need to be used. That vehicle keeps its lights on from 4:49 and 33 seconds, chilling there until 4:55. Now mind yourself this, Simon nor Tyler say anything about anybody coming to their house, coming to their driveway, hanging out in their driveway, making the dog stop barking once somebody's there in their driveway, stays there for 5 minutes, over 5 minutes, and then is going to pull out. And this is consistent with the vehicle that was actually there, like whoever's car was parked where it was parked in front of the house that night. Somebody moving from being parked straight down by where the garage/shed is and backing up and then moving their car in front of the house. This is 1260 Walenta. And then you're going to get right here to the 455 mark. And then here we go. So we're going to back it down to 455 in 7 seconds. Let's take a look. Right there, more lights. More lights. More lights. It's illuminating, but no outline of the vehicle. Where is it? Then it just goes black. Then here. Where's the car? Where's the car? Ah, it's going the wrong way. It's unbelievable. At the end of the day, you can even say it's going the right way. At the end of the day, now, then you would call Simon. So the question would be like, all right, after you saw this, detectives, you didn't think to go back and ask Simon or the Moyes what the hell was going on over there? Thank you, Shadow Ghost. I want to tell you that I love your content. So basically, this just blows up the whole. Now, I want to also tell you that Simon, our friend Simon, I'm going to show you guys. Hector, I need you. Oh. So now that we just put on that display, you guys could really understand the argument. And going to Hector. Come on, Hector, what you got for me today? Oh, okay, got you. All right, so share screen. Thank you. Simon, you got a dog? How many dogs you got? How many dogs am I? Who all has dogs over there? Simon has a dog on his profile pic. Okay. You guys, I mean, so remember how I was like, is that 2 dogs barking? So Matt has a dog and Simon has a dog. By the work that we've done over here with digging as far as the channel goes. Okay. And again, this is a public page. And then just couldn't even believe it. Again, SEL technology coming. But I'm saying the barking that's going on during 417 to 445, okay, or 449 and 33 seconds to be exact. I'm like, man, it sounds like there's 2 dogs barking. Well, I believe that there is 2 dogs barking. I believe that Matt had a dog, and I believe that Simon had a dog, and I believe that these dogs were outside at that house. And for whatever reason, it's interesting that Simon would be the person to call in the next day, that morning, well, like noon, 1, 2, and talk about dogs barking or a dog barking and say that it's coming from 1122 King. And then it was between, and he doesn't say between. He comes right out and says, at 4:17, I woke up and I looked at my clock. And he doesn't say it at 4:17. He uses military time. And 4:17, why is that so familiar? Oh, that's when the probable cause uses the whole thud at the house and the whimper. then how come Dani Vargas always ends up like, wow, here, Dani Vargas. Now she's the one that's going to go talk to these people. Not because she saw him in the backyard, like I originally had said. I was like, wow, she must have been out there. Like, that's the way that she makes it seem. And then she's like, yeah, no, I actually went around to his house. Okay, which means that she would have talked to him first. I went around to his house, knocked on the door, and asked if I can go look in their yard. Oh, okay. And I'm supposed to believe that nothing took place with you talking to them at all. Okay, but then you just be like, okay, I'll come back after I'm doing what I'm doing to get, information on whatever it is that you want to tell me about. And she never puts down that these people had dogs. Never writes on anything pertinent or goes back to say, hey, you said you were up until like 5. Did you go right back to sleep? Did you hear anything else like around 5? You know what I mean? They don't think that it'd be pertinent that they would have figured out that the dog stopped barking or dogs stopped barking when literally somebody is in their driveway and I think it's them. And everybody wants to talk about, well, there was a cleanup. Ann Taylor's talking about a cleanup. Okay, well, look at this potential cleanup that there's no cameras in the back of the house. I have no idea what Simon was calling for that next morning of what he observed because he heard a dog barking. What did he observe? I observed a dog barking? His own dogs? You guys, the dog, remember how Murphy is just chilling in the bedroom like nothing happened? Murphy's timid, scared, then supposedly gets under the desk and is under there and, Murphy doesn't bark not once. Not once do we hear Murphy bark, not once. Not once on any body cam that we've gotten to this day. Not once. Does that sound like that dog barking? No. You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like a lab. It sounds like a German Shepherd. Not once do we hear Murphy barking. Not when the police arrive. Not, nothing. Not once. And remember, we have to go back. So now Dylan saying, I don't know how they found Murphy. Yeah, because she had Murphy. Okay. And then Bethany saying, Maddie came to me because Murphy was lost. You guys, some people just aren't. Sometimes it's not corruption. Okay. Some people should not be in the line of work that they are in. Okay. Some people are just bad at their jobs. Think about it. You have a child and they're going to go to school for how many years and they're going to have teachers, right? You're going to sit here and tell me, think about it. How many teachers do you think back and look back and are like that they were a good teacher versus like, damn, I have no idea how they're a teacher. There are people that just are not good at their job. And then what ends up happening when you're not good at your job is that it could look like corruption, horrible mistakes because you are not good at your job. And so that's why I'm a firm believer of like, you better have good teachers in 1st through 4th grade to teach like the fundamentals of learning of, phonics and how to read. Like that's just crucial, right? These people are just not good at their job. When I say these people, I will tell you who these people refer to. Anybody who viewed that video and saw that the dog stopped barking and you're staring to look at these headlights and these cars and you're listening to sounds and saw what we just saw there and doesn't say, wait a second, we got to take a look at this. And then you go to a house and you see that house that you just went to, Simon's, has 2 dogs. And you guys are talking about, is this 1 dog, 2 dogs? You guys hear this? Where's this dog coming from? And then you're going to, it had to be Murphy. Doesn't have to be shit. You have to just follow the evidence. They just weren't good. That's all there is to it. They weren't good. I think Simon said a lot of pertinent things, but if you're not good at your job, you have no idea what's pertinent, so you have no idea what to write down. And it's unfortunate, but cops not writing down pertinent stuff in a report would make somebody look like they're hiding something. It's just like, no, listen to my interview. And then you find out, wait, you didn't record my interview? Are you kidding me? And that's what we have to live with? Is this written report? That's not what I said. Get the fuck out of here. That's why I don't think that written reports, and they're not, you cannot enter those into evidence. Okay, that's hearsay. I think that detectives thinking that they don't have to wear body cams? Are you kidding me? Detectives not being in uniform? Are you kidding me? I want to know who I'm talking to. I want to know that you're with the police department. What's with the thing of detectives not being in uniform? We have to do something to change that. You then give them like a uniform, like you're going to school, like you're in high school with a collared shirt that says, MPD. It's blue with khaki pants, and it says MPD detective whatever. And then somewhere where you can have, you're wearing some type of, give yourself like the way the GoPros would work. But I think that should change. I think that should change. Now the question is the real question then would start is, who left at 4:55, right? And now your options are Matt, Tyler, Simon, Madison, and then you have one potential, but I don't believe it's not going to hold that much weight, which is somebody came there at 4:49 in a different vehicle that doesn't live there, and they waited and they were picking somebody up or dropping somebody off. But guess what? Guess who's going to be able to answer all of that? Tyler, Matt. And the reason I believe that Matt's not on it is because I think Ann Taylor did her due diligence and went to BW3s and must have got whatever she needed. And that he was there. But somebody has to answer the fact of who went to that house, what were they doing, or who left the house, what were they doing, why wasn't this reported to the police, why did the dog stop barking all of a sudden? That would have nothing to do with this dog, and that totally changes when the time of the crime happened if you're basing it off of a dog going berserk at 4:17 and then lasting until this time. And that's when Ann Taylor is saying that somebody brought in that dog. Well, I don't even know if Ann Taylor even saw this stuff. I don't know. I'm just guessing that she did because she had those two people on the witness list. But maybe she just had them on the witness list because of a different angle, but she didn't go this far and look at all this stuff. Maybe now this will get to her one day and she's like, holy shit, how the fuck did we miss that? Who knows? This is huge. This is absolutely huge. It changes the entire timeline. And it points out the fact that people that were inserting themselves that called on 1113, called dispatch to say I want to report what I've observed. That's like what you saw. She used the word observe. Maybe that wasn't his word, but she used it in her report. He called dispatch, and then now I'm like, I want to hear that call. Was it recorded? It has to be recorded. Where's that call at? Let's hear what he said, And we got it on the radio. We can play that part again if you guys want to hear that, but It's wild. Let's look at this. Let's look at the angle of the house if people don't believe. Let's go to the driveway, how this driveway looks and works. Okay. Okay, perfect. We'll start with this one. This is a beautiful picture here. This is the backyard of the Moye's house. 1260. Okay. All right. So if you guys remember at any point in time, I would love to know if Kaylee and Jack D, when they're out with the dog and they're sitting around a fire, if and in fact this is where they did it. Okay. But this is the backyard, and this is one of the angles of it. And this is like looking towards, obviously, you guys should be able to see all of what the camera's facing. And then here we go. This is what Lana's talking about. All right, this is 120. Or I'm sorry, 1260, 120. This is 1260, Walenta. You relentless fucks. Sorry. It's been a long day and it's just started. If you can't laugh at yourself, man. So I don't know. You just look at that. 120 here. No, it's 1260 Walenta. Okay. This house, though, you guys, this house is actually way bigger than you could ever imagine. When you look at this house, you're like, dude, who would ever live in that piece of shit? This piece of shit's worth $500,000. Why? Because it's a prime piece of property. It opens up. It's got 2 floors. That one's a balcony that comes out on the main level, and then a walkout down for the basement. It's like what all the newer houses have now. I love a downstairs walkout. It's like tits. Woo! So anyways, this house, but do you see what I'm talking about here? The driveway goes straight back to where the shed is, but then you see how this car right here is parked. And what I'm saying is parallel to the street. It's parked parallel to the street. And do you see this little grassy area here? Well, people were parking cars like right up where the curb is, but do you see where that car literally is parked right there? It's like somebody backed up, okay, backed up from being by the shed, backed up, and then pulled the car and made a 3-point turn, okay, like that, to put the car as is seen, okay? And now the interesting part is, why did they leave and go the way of like down around versus like why didn't they leave and go out the other way? You know, why'd they go this way? Well, to be honest with you, nobody really has cameras over there. Nobody has cameras over there. And nobody has cameras over there. But I have no idea what the hell they were doing, but they were definitely not sleeping at this house. Somebody, and we can't hear any sounds leading up to it, like somebody was driving up to it. So that's what's even like more my money's on the fact that somebody backed up after they turned on their car and then got into this position. You guys are lost. I don't know what you mean by lost. This is the 1260 Walenta house. That's right behind where, oh, here, check this out. You know when you like, you know when you're just Facebooking hookers is when they comment on your shit like this. Hi. I hope you have a great evening. My name is Hanson, and I would like to make friends if possible. Can you add me to your friends list for further acquaintance? Excuse me? I just took the screenshot. This person wrote on this 1 year ago, when I took the screenshot, which was yesterday. And it's like, why are you commenting on something that's from November 1st of 2022? This random girl, right? Well, this random girl's a bot. but she's like a hobot. It's like a sexual thing. That's what they always do. And then it's because you're using your account to like sex with people and like get with hooks. So anyways, I just had to put that out there because it's relevant. Yep, I agree, Heather, right? Right? And I think the thing that threw us all off is it was like, who's this SG? Who's this SG person that was interviewed at that house? You know? It's like, who the hell lived there? It was never said that anybody else lived there, right? Besides like the family. And I'm like, SG, I wonder, could that be like a, who knows? It's Dani Vargas. She's not good. You know those hobots? Look out for them. Hobots. Talk about nightbots. Those are hobots. But this house, I'm going to pull up the Zillow. Fuck it. Is it Zillow, Zwillow? Who gives a shit? Zillow. Because I'll show you the pictures of the house. 1260 Walenta Drive. Like how these people weren't seriously talked to. One should ask. One should be concerned. All right. These pictures are horrible. Where's the other? Well, we'll go through all of them. Fuck it. We'll do these ones first. Okay, here you go. So, great. See all. Somebody came through and really fancied it up, okay? But so these pictures just horrible, all right? Then they did another one. Hold on though. Like these ones are just horrid. All right, but hang tight. Let me get us a different one. $500,000 over there. Let me get, hold on. That wasn't good enough for us. We want to do, I think realtor.com has some nice pics. One of these has like 60 pics. Get out of here. Okay, here it is. This is the site. We found it. All right, so the family owned it, Matt's parents. But okay, so now you have a really good view over here of what this looks like, this driveway. It last sold at $360,000. So they still own it, if this is accurate. Pretty. I swear I thought it was like 180. When whoever bought this, I thought they bought it at 180. All right, 30 pictures. Let's see. Pick. There's a good view. All right. So this motion light, you know what I mean? Like motion light, my ass. Up, see? Told you. Look at these calendars over here. Do you see that calendar? That is a hobot right there. See that right there? It's a calendar of a female. That's Simon's calendar, no doubt about it. Total hobots, pinups. Okay. All right. Then this is obviously one of the bedrooms down. See, this is the classic college refrigerator right there. That's in one of the rooms. That's how it should be. I mean, who takes pictures and has every drawer open and they're like, just bizarre. All right. So now this room should just give everybody a big wow. Okay. Who posts pictures and posts this? Like this really gets your house sold. Hey, I told you guys, the hobots is a real thing, okay? Like Let me just put these up on the internet and say, come by my house. Like, come on, man. Okay, now this is what's awesome. When you go downstairs, okay, this is what the downstairs look like. And it creates like a, I hate small bathrooms like that. Ugh, it's the worst. But see right here, there's how you go downstairs. And this is what it looks like. You have like this little, it's like, and this is where I think potentially I would be throwing Simon down here. Like, Simon, here, yeah, you can rent this out from us down here. You know, you have your little kitchen area and it's like, you know, so here it is. Okay. Like that's the downstairs part. See, bedroom. And then see, all American, baby. And the other side of the downstairs. Ooh, golfers. See, golfers, take a look. I wonder if they ever played golf with Ethan. Now, the other side, washer dryer. Great. And honestly, take a look at this. It's like, here, this is our family washer dryer. We use this. See how there's a sign on there? It's like, do not use our shit. Your renter's one is over there in the corner, bitch. Get on over there. Do not use our washer dryer. Okay, you see that sign right there? Mm-hmm. If you're all family, you got to remind your family like that. Like, do not leave your wet, moldy ass shit. Okay. Whatever. This is reminds me of all college life, which is great. Now this deck I think is awesome. This picture, to make it look this big, it's not as big as but it's sweet. Who doesn't love a good deck? Who doesn't love a good deck? You get it? Deck. Okay. Found it. Boom, Daddy Lana. Do you want to see? You know what car that is right there? That is the souped up Audi, baby. Oh God. Look at, zoom in. You know whose car that is? That's the Audi that has that loud exhaust, you know? Yeah, that's that any Audi right there. Yeah, the any Audi right there. That is none other than parked. So one of those kids is one of the ones that actually owns that vehicle that lived there. That's what that car is. So they know. They know who that car belongs to. They know. Okay, back over here. Get focused. Okay, so look at this. See this area? Now, see this area? Yeah. Look at how close. Look at how close. Right there, there's the Shark Tank house that's like, looks like it's down in like the, you know, it looks like it's in the ground. Okay, so you have the house right here that's close to us. That's where Schneider was just walking all over. Okay. Then you have the shark. Potentially that could be, I don't know. People are saying that was the shark house. It doesn't matter. But right next to it, look at how close. So if a dog goes all the way, see how the chain continues to go and rides up the right hand side. It just doesn't end right in front of us. It goes, so the dogs can go all the way up to, like, you guys saw where that fence is. You know how close it is to that camera, y'all? You want to know if dogs were smelling blood? What if a dog is smelling blood? They're outside. They start smelling blood. I don't know. But those dogs that were at the Walenta house, they're the ones that were barking. And that's so close to that camera. So everybody can just sit and spin. And it's 2 dogs. And the Moyes, I believe Matt had a dog, and I believe Simon had a dog. But it would be pertinent to know that. And just, they don't ask any questions. So who cares, right? Look at that backyard. That backyard. So this is what you're paying for. I mean, you're paying for a house on campus. You can rent this out. You could probably, rent it out and make it like 2 houses, kind of like in one, and make double the money. But that is it. Look at that pimp ass walkout. You can blow out those windows right there, make them 2 sliders. I mean, this could be a pimp ass pad. It is worth every damn penny. Whoever bought it for $188 back in the day, and even at $360, I think you'd be able to make good money off of this to rent this on campus. But here, this is the house that's calling 911 calls for noise complaints. They must not, he must have had to go to extensive training at 2:30 in the morning. and was like, I'm going to need you to shut that music up at 8. End of the day, this house is awesome. To have a house like this in college, if you did the right thing with it, so much to do with it. Look at that. You could dangle all types of lights up there. That's right. Oh, here we go. See this area back here? Well, you can walk your happy ass all around. That's your shed. And then they even give us a picture of what's inside. Those are fun. Remember we went through all of this back in the day? Of course we did. But this house overlooks it all, and it has a path that takes you right back to the Queen back lot over there. You have to be on foot. And it fits perfectly with, oh, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. He was like, I would have seen the motion light. It looks like only guys live there. And that's why I think that Madison was living at the sorority house. That's what I believe, especially if she was a sophomore. That's what you're supposed to do. But I don't know when these pictures were taken. But this is your view of just like, you're right. The dogs go right up to that end of that fence, and that's bark, bark, bark. And that's what you're just like, talk about a way more open shot to that camera, where the camera is actually located. It's in a better situated position to actually pick up dogs barking from over here versus, Murphy, who doesn't bark like that at all. But whatever. It all matters. It all matters because this dog barking that's been labeled that it was Murphy, it is not Murphy. And I will put my channel on it, man. I'm going to pull a Candace Owens right here and say, prove me wrong. Prove me that that's Murphy barking. Prove me wrong, because it's not. It is not. And what is compelling is when the dog stops barking, and the dog stops barking, or potentially two, as soon as a vehicle arrives or moves, in a sense that like they put the dogs, potentially got him in the car, get in, or because when the vehicle gets straightened out, and this is what you see, right? Where is it? Front of the house. The vehicle is parked right here in the front of the house, and it's facing not straight towards the shed. It's facing like it would be positioned how the house is, with the headlights facing towards 1127 King Road. And those are the headlights that you see shine onto the house. And I will bet my channel on it. And so now let's go. But this is the type of evidence that you need to show a compelling argument of that. And these people that live in this house, they were not. There was no where's their DNA? Where's their prints? Where's their phones? Who left at 4:55 in the morning? Who arrived? Who was pulling out of the house? I mean, who woke up at 4:17? Out of here, man. This is the real deal. And Simon, I believe, is still in town working at SCL, and I believe he works and lives over there. I'm not going to say it, but I don't think that's right. But he hasn't left town. Can't say the same for other people. So how you been, brother? Do we know whose shed that is? What? The shed is... See, this is the type of shit, you guys. Who's the shed belong to? The shed is in the pictures for the house that's being. It's the what? I gotta go. I can't fuck with people that I just can't. I mean, Jesus Christ, help us. By God. Yeah. So what we need to start looking at is paying attention to everything that's happening on the cameras going and coming from this area. Like, when does the car that just left come back? And what sucks is it's going to be a lot harder to do when it's not dark outside. So, but they have a geofence, right? Whose phone leaves the geofence at 4:55? I want to see if a phone leaves the geofence at 4:55, and I want to know who it is. But again, these are two military families, and I don't know how. Oh yeah, hold on. I want to put a nice bow on this. Now, Ann Taylor arguing third-party culpability. Okay, when she was arguing third-party culpability, I want to show you what. Okay. Turning next to the four individuals the defendant wishes to argue as alternate perpetrators, the state addresses each in turn. As discussed below, the court should preclude alternate perpetrator evidence as to each because the defendant has not provided admissible evidence linking them to the homicides as required under Meister. Okay, so the defendant first proffers, and then this gets redacted. Proximity to the two of the victims hours before the homicides, without something else later that night, is not probative evidence and is excludable under the. Okay. Now the defendant next points to 3 lab reports, which merely reflect that as part of this person and this person's cooperation with the investigators, he voluntarily submitted a DNA sample and fingerprints. Well, guess what? That is not one of the Moyes, as far as I'm concerned. Now, this person's DNA was not found on the knife strap. You know, they're going on all through that, okay? Lab report 7, lab report 13, lab report 26, lab report 31, okay? The defendant next submits 3 law enforcement investigation reports, and then boom, boom. Like, why can't we unredact those? Why does that have to be redacted? First, these reports and their contents are hearsay. Yeah, they are. But let's just put in the recordings then, because that's not. That said, all they demonstrate is that this person right here affirmatively reached out to law enforcement investigators and voluntarily cooperated with them, including providing his DNA. Defendant's speculation that this somehow suggests culpability is without foundation. The balance of the defendant's submissions are comprised of references, so like whatever, in some, blah, blah. Okay, not that. Okay. Defendant next alleges that this person's alibi as to his whereabouts and activities on the early morning of November 13th cannot be corroborated. Offer of proof at page 4. This is incorrect. And I would just love to know what that's about. Defendant next suggests that this is not probative of a connection between blank and the crimes. As he did with blank, defendant then cites many tips that blank should be considered a suspect. Yet there is no evidence of any tip, which would be hearsay anyway, in the defendant's filings other than the statements attributed to blank. The balance of the defendant's submissions regarding blank, as with the others, are largely hearsay and are, at best, mere inferences that blank could have committed the crimes. There is no evidence, direct or circumstantial, linking blank to the actual perpetration of the crime. Defendant next refers to, as with DNA was excluded from the strap. The defendant notes that blank was familiar with the victim and their resident and lived nearby. Aside from the fact that blank, the other observations of proximity are not unique to blank. Indeed, it appears that there were numerous people who were familiar not only with the victims but also the residents. The defendant also makes note that whatever this too is not suspicious. Blank. The defendant also alleges blank was fully cooperative with the investigators, providing DNA and consenting. Again, the defendant's allegations do not rise to the level of even an inference that blank committed the murders, much less constitutes evidence. Okay, linking blank to the actual. Finally, the defendant submits blank as an alternate perpetrator. The defendant's attachments clearly reflect that blank was cooperative and voluntarily submitted a DNA sample. And if all these people submitted DNA samples, all right, then we have an issue. Blank's DNA from the sample from the north wall of the stairwell at the scene, as well as the half wall. Blank only possible connection of any of the victims was blank. Blank. The behavior is not probative. Okay, blank. Defendant also alleges that blank. Regardless, even if blank with blank, this act does not provide any evidence of a connection to the crime, much less the type of evidence required. Okay. Blank. Perhaps the most obvious failure of the defendant's proof is the fact that blank. Once again, the defendant's submissions do not even rise to the level of mere inference that blank could have committed the homicides. Blank. Okay. In addition to the foregoing, none of the defendant's submissions even hint at any connection between these four individuals and the defendant himself. Okay? Because this is their point. Their point is that you better be listing somebody that knows Brian Kohlberger. Guys, you better be listening to somebody that knows Brian Kohlberger, because the way that I would look at this, you guys, is that the people that you'd be offering up, it's just they also did it with him type of thing. Okay? And I'm like, okay, so that's where they're heading with this. Okay. So then going back over here. Based on the undisputed evidence and what appears to be his theory of the case, the defendant likely will argue that the true killer or killers committed these crimes and also framed the defendant by placing his K-bar knife / sheath at the scene. I don't know why they would ever do /. There is no knife / sheath. There was a knife at the scene? You fucking idiots. Like, that's just written so bad. It should just be that placing his K-bar knife, it should not say / sheath. It should say knife sheath at the scene. But nothing in the defendant's submissions points to any of the alternative perpetrators accomplishing this or having the motive or means to do it. What? The means? What do you mean the means to do it? Nor does the defendant connect any of them to a K-bar knife. What? Whether the one the defendant purchased in March 2022 or another K-bar. Defendant's submissions also do not connect any of the individuals to a Hyundai Elantra. You guys, I am absolutely over. I can't. I told you guys I was going to put a bow on it for you. To literally sit here and say that we have to connect somebody to a Hyundai Elantra in order for them to have committed this crime is absurd. Is actually, I mean, with this logic, y'all, that we should all just start framing each other and then going into court and saying, you guys, I clearly couldn't have done this because I don't own her, and that car is what you say the killer was in. You guys, that is the most absolute, I mean, that argument has to fail. That is the worst argument I've ever heard in my life. The police say that the killer was in that car. What evidence points that the killer was in that car? What evidence points to the fact that actually it points that the killer wasn't in that car, because the car that you then think it is Brian's and there's no evidence in it. Like, I mean, how these arguments are just, I just, the logic is lacking for me to understand how you think that you can't present a third party culpability, because I can't say that, hey, the person didn't leave in that car that you think is zooming away. Okay. I think the killer left potentially in a different vehicle, and they left at 4:55. And the reason the dogs were going crazy is they had to keep the dogs out of the house because they were all cleaning up themselves in the Walenta house. I don't know. And the way the dogs were barking, and that it started at 4:17 and it didn't end until 4:55. Okay. And they were on foot. But these 4 people, when you guys read through this, I don't think any of them are the people at Walenta. What do you guys think? That was the question. And I think the answer that I go with is that they're not. The alternative perpetrators are not the people that were living behind. And I'm saying that that something was going on at that house. The dog barking is with that house. And at the very least, you'd want to use the house to completely throw out everything to do with the dog barking at that time. And that has to do with the murders. And you're going to look way either earlier, when Murphy was barking. But those dogs barking is not Murphy. It's the people there at Walenta, as I just showed you how close that house with the fence and how close it actually goes all the way in that type of angle to where the camera was. And then the car arriving or being pulled out from where the shed was. And then that's when the dog, you never hear the dog bark again. They were not alt perps, but AT wanted to use them to change the timeline with the dogs. Could be. But it's... I think there's a reason that everybody should ask themselves this and this alone. Why can't you use the victims' phones to nail down a time of death? Or at least a time of like when their phone stopped walking and then there was movement. Why wouldn't you be able to use the fact that Maddie or Kaylee didn't make, because it clashes completely thing. What Dylan is saying makes absolutely no sense. That means that there should be steps on Kaylee's phone, right? At 4 o'clock. At 3:50, her phone should be moving. Okay. And it's not. Her phone stops moving at like 2:52, 2:53. And that's what I think that things need to be looked at. And this dog barking was a huge red herring in the case to make it seem like, and then that's my take on it, that this dog barking from 4:17 to 4:49 has everything to do with the Walenta 1260 house. Nothing to do with the crime at all. Well, I should say nothing to do. And then one of the girls going and getting the dog and putting the dog. They don't even mention the barking. I'm like, what? How are you not mentioning the barking? But Bethany, as soon as the dog does start barking, the neighbor's dog, she calls Dylan. And was Dylan just like, oh God, it's the fucking neighbor's dog? You know what I mean? Oh, okay. it completely changes everything. It completely changes everything. And then Dylan could be then talking about what had happened earlier, what she had heard earlier. I don't know. No one's answering. That's really weird. Why no one's answering? I'm really freaked out because this is what I saw earlier. Like, and now it has nothing to do with that. The text messages that they see and whatnot, it has nothing to do with the time of the crime. So, has it happened earlier? Just Dylan's about it when she called her, and then they're texting back and forth because she's like, I don't know, I just called everybody and no one's answering. Think about it. I would just think that the noise complaint callers would call, but maybe Matt was the only one and he had already left for BW3. So he was like, you guys can deal with it. I don't know. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Much love. We love you. Truth and Transparency appreciates every single one of you guys. Janet, thank you so much. Ange. Ange says 6:18 and 6:48 a.m. on 1112 footage does appear to be Murphy in top left corner pacing. You can definitely not see any dogs. Where? Top left corner. A car also slows down at 6:48, appearing startled by Murphy. I'll go take a look at that. I don't think it's Murphy. Good vibes only. Thank you so much. Christine, thank you so much. Michelle, what's good in the hood? Sleuther 75. Oh, there she is. There she is. The mom in all of us. William. I'm gonna have to get with my boy William and show him how not all independent journalists are on the right tracks. William, we love you. Shadow Ghost, I want to tell you that I love your content. Oh yeah, I got that earlier. Thank you so much. Custody Queen Kristen. What's good, Custody Queen Kristen? I always enjoy your analysis of the legal issues as well as the objective analysis of the isolated issues / red flags. Oh yeah, nothing like some red flags over here. Definitely red flag with the barking. I think the barking was attributed to Murphy between 417 and 449, and it is definitely not. In fact, I think it's 2 dogs. And I think it's 1260 Walenta. And I think that they should have been telling the police that somebody had come to their house or that somebody had left at 5 a.m. and they did not. And Simon inserted himself by calling dispatch. And I really, really, really want to know what that's about. So we're going to try to get as much information as we can on that. Thank you, Custody Queens. Kelly, Lana, thank you for all of your hard work. You to shiz. You to shiz. I haven't heard the word shiz in a while. Thank you for that shiz, girl. William. William. Right side of the checks, William. Right side. Dana, what's up? Good to see you in here. Thank you. Miss Bernie 2015 homecoming queen, come on down. To get DNA in PA so it wouldn't be questioned. Random DA unsheathed who said they can see Kaylee's room and could sneak in the house. I want to know how Madison Moye got in that bar being 20 who didn't have a fake ID. I don't think any of the kids should get in trouble for that. This case is just a head scratcher. Shiz and Hobots. Come on, man. You guys learn something new every day over here. Hippler, where has Hippler been? That's all I've been saying. We need to put out, I'm going to do a wellness call. Someone needs to do a wellness check on Hippler. He has been MIA. So thank you. Thank you. You relentless fucks. You like that? I'm going to go have some lunch. Gosh, my voice, it's getting raspy. How many people got in there all their holiday shopping done? How many people haven't even started? But Hitler's really been MIA, and he doesn't want to, like, he hasn't released any new stuff, and he was pumping it out. And I'm not happy about it. I'm definitely not happy about it. I want to know what's the delay here. Oh, hey, and you guys see those doors at the Moye's house? Go take a look. When you're those, they have doors all over that. They have the doors that are on the bottom level. Ah, yep, open and closing them doors. Then they got the car doors. You guys. And then we got to talk about the fact that Matt Moye was having a party, right? Where you coming from? Oh, party over there. Who? Where? Who's? My friend Matt. Well, that all happened at let's write that down. It was at 2:50, 3 a.m. to 3. I was at my friend Matt's house at a party. Let's see what time it is over there. I gotta give my boy Simon a call. I just think Simon wants to talk. I think Simon wasn't taken seriously. Maybe he had a lot more to say, and Dani Vargas was like, okay, we'll come back and see you guys. Okay, gotta go. Like, when you don't want someone to blow your cover, like, hey, we gotta go. We'll come back. So dogs that are loose, wandering don't usually bark, but dogs in their own yard will bark at wandering dogs. Yeah. Yeah. Or people going in and out of that, they'll also bark at people, right? So if those two dogs are all the way up, and what's really weird though, when you think about it, why wouldn't Simon say, like, we have dogs, but it wasn't our dogs barking, I mean, he really just wanted to place the blame of the barking of the dogs. Unless Simon said, I have a dog. It wasn't my dog. It sounded like it was coming from over there. It could have been my roommates. They have dogs, because I don't know how close Simon is with, the Moyes. Like, he could have just saw it posted. I have no idea why he was renting from them. So that would have a lot to do with the dynamic. We've been saying Simon said all day. It's been great. Every time I say it, drink. Simon says at the. I don't know if there's necessarily a video from there. Like, you talking about, like, the lobby, them walking in and walking out. I mean, the police should have got that if they would have ever been, like, outside talking, smoking, and being like, what the hell just happened? But glad we did not do one on Ashley Jennings and her bug eyes spilled the Dateline tea girl. Yeah, Ashley's old news right now. Ashley couldn't see a Mack truck in front of her. I just can't believe that no, I can't believe it. I take that back. I can't. When people aren't good, they're not good. I think now there are more. So, anything else? You know what? I will call the courthouse, and I'm just going to ask if Hitler is on vacation. I think that is a legit question. You know what? So we are going to do that. We're going to call the courthouse right now, really quick, and we're just going to ask if Judge Hitler has been on vacay. He has not made any orders in the Idaho4 case. It's uncharacteristic of him, and just making sure that he's okay for the holidays. What do you get? Great. We're going to go ahead and do that. Ada County Courthouse.
You may email questions to adaclerk@ada.idcourts.gov. Please listen carefully to the menu options as they have changed. For office hours and location, press 1. To make a payment, press 2.
Payment?
For citations, misdemeanor or felony cases, press 3. For civil matters, press 4. If you would like to hear these options again, press 5.
Yeah, I've missed them all.
Office hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday.
That's not what I picked.
Excluding holidays. Office hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, excluding holidays.
This is not what I needed.
We are located on the first floor of the courthouse at 200 West Front Street, Boise, Idaho, 8370.
Hold on, let's call back. That's not good enough.
You have reached the Ada County Clerk's office. If needed, you may email questions to adaclerk@ada.idcourts.gov. Please listen carefully to the menu options as they have changed. For office hours and location, press 1. To make a payment, press 2.
Payment?
For citations, misdemeanor or felony cases, press 3. For civil matters, press 4. If you would like to hear these options again, press 5.
Civil. Yeah, I have a civil matter.
For all family matters, custody, divorce,
what is going on?
Orders or child support, press 1. For small claims, civil cases, or name changes, press 2. For adoption or termination cases, press 3. For guardianship and probate, press 4. For the court assistance office, press 5. Press 6.
Please hold while your call is transferred. Thank you for calling the Ada County Court Assistance Office. For filing information, copy requests, case status, fees, or for information on small claims, civil protection orders, or criminal cases, please call the main clerk's office at 208-287-6900. Please leave a message if you would like a return call. State your name, your phone number, a case number if you have one, and your question. We will return your call in the order received. Due to the high volume of calls, please allow up to 1 to 2 business days for a return call, or you may reach us by email at cao@adacounty.id.gov. Self-help forms are available on our website at courtself.idaho.gov. Thank you.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Hi, happy holidays. This is Lana calling with Truth and Transparency Investigative Journalism. And I just had a quick question, was wondering if Judge Hippler was out for the holidays or has been feeling sick or anything like that. Judge Hippler has been amazing at getting orders promptly out to the public for the Brian Colbert case. And just wanted to make sure he was doing all right. And if he's still going to be posting on the case of interest page in the Brian Colbert case. You can give me a call back at that would be greatly appreciated. Again, just checking in, making sure everybody's doing well, and thanks for your time. Look forward to speaking with you. That's my fucking civil issue. I want to know what Judge Hippler's up to. If he's on vacay for the holidays, if he's not feeling well, we care about him. He's just really good about pumping out them orders. So, you guys, I try. I'm, very polite human. I think I'm just fun to be around. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, what the hell, Hippler? No. He's been really great about getting stuff out, and all of a sudden the brakes got put on, and I don't know, maybe, but shit, we just care, sharing is caring. So I want to share that with you guys. I can call Simon. Maybe he's available to talk. Let's give Simon a call. I was going to call him. I just... I just have to make sure that he's not in Washington. So he works at SCL, and that's in Pullman. So we're not allowed to record people in Washington without their permission. So I'll be calling Simon first by myself, and then ask him if he wants to hear from. This is Tina with What the Fuck Transition Services. What the fuck's up, Simon? Can we talk about the HODOTs in the on your page? All right, guys. Who else is somebody that we need to talk to? Who else is needed for anything that I've been doing this past week? I think that's everything. Oh, I'm going to try to get Emma Bailey. Okay. I think everybody deserves, I think Emma Bailey for Christmas this year, she deserves to be vindicated. I think Emma Bailey deserves to be vindicated. And I want to do a sit down interview with Emma Bailey and vindicate her. You know, I think that just because she got a DUI and put potential contraband in her ass, doesn't make you a killer and doesn't make you part of a conspiracy to commit murder. And just because there was bee pollen in your car and just because you hang out with some roughneck motherfuckers, you deserve a fabulous Christmas, and people should be apologizing to Emma Bailey. So let's see if we can get Emma Bailey on an interview. And I think that she should apologize to her friend Meredith. I think that was her name. Martha, whatever her name was. No, she's a sweetheart. I think should apologize to her friend. If she ever cared about that friendship, it seems like they were friends for a long time. Maybe they can, mend a friendship there and ring in the new year together. So, yeah, that's about it. That's all I have. You know what? We could send Bill Thompson a Christmas gram. What do you guys think? Yep, Marilyn, that's it. Marilyn. God, Meredith. It's not Martha. It's fucking Marilyn Monroe. That's right. And now she's a sweetheart. I hope her kid's doing well. But, Santa deserves a Santagram. So maybe some Santa cookies. Let's ask the bakery. Moscow Bakery. Let's see if we can send some cookies. Moscow Bagel and Deli. We're going to ask them if they have Christmas cookies. You have to make sure that we can really send them a good gram. I promise we're not going to put weed in it or anything like that. They get it. Molly, I've been trying to get Molly to pick up the phone forever. Molly's scared. I'd be scared of me too. I got so many questions for you, Molly. But I'll be fair.
I'm sorry, the person you are trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not set up yet.
This is a goddamn
Please try your
bakery?
call again later. Goodbye.
What the hell? No wonder you're not busy. You don't even have your voicemail set up. How can you get any holiday cookies out to the community? Listen, I'm going to just step up your game, Moscow Bakery and Deli. I was trying to buy some cookies for Ashley Jennings and Bill Thompson, who did a phenomenal job in the Brian Kohlberg case. I mean, I'm going to have to go to your competitor now. You guys, they hung up. They don't even have a voicemail. I couldn't even leave that if I wanted to. Now I have to go to their competitor. I mean, people, why do you even have a phone? Okay, Goose House Bakery. That sounds like fun. Oh god, they got cakes and shit. All right, perfect. They don't even have a phone. You have to do everything online. You guys know that's about to change. Like everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, don't call us, just order online." I was just telling my son today how we didn't have cell phones and we had to memorize everybody's numbers. And I just whip out my mom's old work number and her extension. And then I text my mom this morning and I said, I just put her number in and her extension. And I said, do you see this brain? And she's like, how the hell do you remember that? I was like, I don't know. That's the crazy part of Lana's brain. Who remembers that shit? Mm-mm-mm. She's like, even my extension? I was like, yep. All right. Nobody's answering phones in Moscow. Maybe it's too early. Maybe they don't work early. Moscow. BW3s, actually. I want to ask about that. So we can call them Moscow BW3s, I guess. They said they're closed, but maybe they're there doing some training. We'll call BW3s really quick.
Wild Wings. Looking to place an order but don't have time to wait? You can order anytime online at BuffaloWildWings.com or on the Buffalo Wild Wings app. If you need to speak with a Buffalo Wild Wings team member, we will be with you shortly. If calling to check on hours of operation, the most current hours are updated on our website and on Google. Thanks for holding. For a faster way to order, you can place your order at BuffaloWildWings.com or
Buffalo Wild Wings. How may I help you?
Oh my gosh, great. Thank you so much. I was trying to reach somebody that would have been like a manager of your store back in 2022.
Who are you trying to reach?
Somebody that would have. Do you have anybody that was still employed that was like a manager in 2022?
I mean, I'm not sure. I probably could help you with what you're looking for.
Oh,
what are you needing?
Okay, great. So we were curious. Do you guys do any type of training, and then it happens during the night with like cooks or like bartenders, servers? Do you guys ever do like nighttime training, like from like 3 a.m. to midnight? I mean noon.
No.
Have you guys ever done that during the, I don't know, since you've been there?
No.
Is that something that you would think would be like odd? Well, because I'm writing a story and a couple kids said that they worked at BW3s and did extensive training at like 3 a.m. until like noon. And I'm like, why the hell would BW3s ever do training at 3 a.m.? It doesn't make any sense. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ask BW3s. And I asked a couple other ones and they said, no, we've never heard of that. And I was like,
Never heard of that.
yeah. Okay. So you've never heard of that. How would I go about like, would corporate or anything like that be able to like confirm that?
No, that's just not a thing we do. Nobody would be here training. Like that's unreasonable hours to ask somebody to come in for training.
Yeah, that's what I didn't know. You guys have never done like inventory, like nothing like that?
Nothing that would be a 9-hour course. No.
Yeah. And it wouldn't be at 3 a.m. right?
No.
Okay. That's what I said. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay. That's all I had. Sorry. Told you. Now, she thinks that that's the weirdest phone call that she's ever gotten. She's like, I just got a really weird phone call that in 2022, somebody wanted to know if we had 3 a.m. training. And it's like, it's not me. So now I got Moscow. I'm just blowing up your spot. She thinks that that's absolutely ridiculous. You guys just heard her. Now let me read this for you again. I spoke with Matt Moye. Matthew Moye told me on the 13th he woke up around 2:30 and left the house around 3 a.m. Matt Moye said that he had an extended training day and it lasted about 12 hours. Matt Moye said he finished his extended training day around 1,800 hours at Buffalo Wild Wings If you do not believe me, it's right here. Buffalo Wild Wings. Okay. She writes it at Buffalo Wild Wings and arrived home around 6:30. So now I'm going to leave a message with that. This is ridiculous. So I just called Buffalo Wild Wings and they said that they do not do any employee training at 3 a.m. for 12 hours. Are you aware of this? Did you check Matt Moye's alibi? This is ridiculous. We look for the truth here. We are truth seekers. Lana, where is that place, Buffalo Wild Wings? It's in Moscow. The address? You use one. I think I want to go to BW3s right now. It's 1710 West Pullman Road. God bless these liars, man. All these fucking liars. I can't even do my job because every time I go to do a new thing, I just want to confirm stuff. Yep, this happened. Yep. Well, guess what we get? Yeah, no, that's definitely not something that, to ask people to come in like that would be a very unreasonable request. People training at 3 a.m. I told you guys that I owned a bar. That's never going to happen. Also, work at bars. They usually supplement their income by working at a bar. So I had a lot of teachers that worked for me, believe it or not. And that's by choice. I love to hire teachers. They're actually fucking smart. And they're just great. A lot of good qualities in teachers. Patience. They have a lot of patience. So I was like, dude, there's no way that you're doing training of all things at 3 a.m. So he lied his alibi. Oh my God, I'm going to call Ann Taylor's office right now. Ann Taylor, are you aware that Moscow Police Department, or that BW3s did not have training and would not have people there at 3 a.m.? And all right, I gotta go figure out what the hell's going on, guys. This is wild shit. I gotta go do some more digging. I gotta do some more calling. Listen, this now fight me, motherfuckers. Bring it on. Dogs aren't Murphy. 2 dogs. Simon 417. Dogs stop barking immediately when the car faces Walenta. Come on, man. Come on. Keep asking the tough questions, guys. This is insanity. Okay. This is insane. Absolutely wild. Now we just need to know what kind of car these people had. I'll see you guys in the next one. This is crazy. But I love showing it in real time and in receipts. It's just nothing scripted here. Just straight brains. Eminem over and out. Damn. Yeah, 3 a.m. to go into a Sunday where that town's nothing but like Christ, the church, and yeah. Bye, guys.